thought you said you were ready. What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm here in Jamie's basement. I'm taking over.
Nope.
Oh, come on.
Nope, he didn't do it right, so I'm just gonna do it. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to hang out with Dennis Wayne, who is a new saw maker. So he's gonna walk us through some of his saws, show us the different features, because, so he made me these two saws. I'll show you guys them better in video, but he made me two saws and I am completely obsessed with them. So I wanted to see more of his work. He's not that far. He's just in Buffalo. So he came down. We'll check out a bunch of his different saws so we can talk about different features, and we're just going to keep geeking out over the saws because that's kind of been the theme of the channel lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I've been tuning in.
You love saws. Yeah. You didn't tune in a lot more before?
Anyways.
Let's dive in. So first we have to go through how all of this started. If you guys remember the video where I went toward the Veritas plant, he was the guy that was holding the camera a lot of the times, and we just became really good friends. Then he started making saws, and of course I had to have my own, because if you guys watch the channel, you know that I'm extra, and I wanted an extra saw. So I had Dennis make me two saws that are matching, two different Tenon saws, and I basically just gave him creative freedom. And he did go nuts, and they are awesome. I'll show you guys how they cut in a little bit, but walk us through some of the different features on these and what all the different terminology and stuff is. I might have cut myself, but all right.
Yeah, obviously Batcave Creations. Let's give them Batman. This is definitely kind of a newer thing that a lot of saw makers are doing. Just dressing up the front end a little bit
In the back.
And the back.
He's got it on the back too.
Yeah, so this was supposed to be like kind of like the cape, the ends of the cape.
Yeah, it is. I didn't even think about that. That's sweet.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you guys noticed right away in the footage, because sometimes they're a little bit hidden, but there are etches on each one of these saws, and the one that I'm holding has a tombstone on it, and then the one that he's holding has a cross on it, because I told him I wanted a cross. Did I say I wanted a tomb? Yeah.
No, we didn't say anything for the rib.
That's
so
right.
I was like, well, if the crosscut's going to have something on it, I mean, the rib has to as well.
Yep.
So what is it going to be? So
that was perfect.
Yeah, I think I woke up one morning and I was like, oh, tombstone, R.I.P. Yeah.
But I want to go through, he brought six down. So I want to go through some of them so you guys can learn the different features of saws, what different styles are called, and different features. I said that. There you go. Yep. So what's this one?
All right, so this style is based on American maker, the Richardson brothers. And the one thing that stands out, I think, for most people is the long nose here, we like to call it. Yeah, quite a bit different, very unique. This was a patent that they had filed. I think there was some argument in there mixed in that it was better for stability or whatever if you had a screw going through the brass and the steel. Whether that is actually true or not, I don't know. But I mean, sometimes the older vintage saws can get a little bit loose up here from like rocking and so on, for however many years it's being used. Yeah. We put this through its paces here.
Yeah, we did. I like this saw a lot.
It's fun to use.
That thing is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big crosscut, which I like making those because a lot of people need to do crosscuts, and the bigger your saw is, you get more depth. Yep. You can make faster cuts because you have more teeth doing the work every time you use it.
One thing that I will say about his crosscuts, that wasn't something that I ever thought about before, because everybody thinks about dovetail saws, you want it to be real smooth when you cut, because normally you're putting a joint together. With his crosscut saws, they were really smooth, like a dovetail saw, and that wasn't, I guess, my experience with other modern maker crosscut saws. They were usually really rough and jagged, and these ones aren't. These ones I would say are probably closer to the finish of a dovetail, but they're really fast at crosscuts. So, bravo. I don't know how you do any of that, but bravo.
Thank you.
Okay, I like that one a lot. Let's go to this one. I know.
Yeah.
This is the one we made a separate video. I thought it was going to be part of this. It's not. We made a separate video of him taking this from a raw spring steel without any teeth on it to toothing it. So keep an eye out for that video so you can see the process of how he actually turns this into a saw. And we used it right after that. It was amazing. And I love the style of this handle other than the flat part. That's just my personal preference, but I know this is popular, and this is the London patent.
London pattern, yes. London flat, whatever you want to
I
call it.
was close. All right, go through the features. You can take over again.
Sure, okay. So yeah, the most probably noticeable part of this is it's massive.
And it's rip, right?
And it is a rip.
Yeah.
So this is a big rip tenon for like your timber framing type of joints. And the dimensions of this was actually borrowed from the Benjamin Seton tool chest of saws. Yeah, so most people, I don't know, that follow woodworking at all have seen that chest, or they know the name. So this is actually very close to the tenon saw that's in there. And the handle style, same thing. It was borrowed over from the maker, John Kenyon, who's probably, as far as English makers go, one of the most famous and renowned. But yeah.
But you did add some of your own flair to this, so I want you to point that out and talk about kind of your inspiration.
Yes. Yep. Sure. Yeah, so I was inspired by both John Kenyon and then another guy by the name of Shane Skelton, who's making some saws over in England now, who's very good at it. He has this this technique that's always kind of amazed me that he does with, kind of fading the brass back into the wood handle up here. So this is kind of a nod to him. It's my first try at trying to do something like this, and it's okay.
I think it's good.
On it. Yeah.
No, I think, but you also put little, I call them nibs, but I don't know what they're called.
I don't know what they're called either, because I
don't know that I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, no, probably
I think that's
not.
neat.
Yeah, but yeah, basically, I didn't want to sink. This is a pretty wide brass back. It's an inch thick down at this end, and I didn't want to sink the brass too far down. So I just cut a little bit off of it, and when you do that, you have the opportunity to add something.
Make it flair, yeah. Give it a flair.
Yep, exactly. So
yeah, that's the big thing with saws too, is if you don't look at saws all day, or not all day, but if you don't pay attention to saws, there's a lot of subtle details you're not going to notice. He just pointed out the little, what was this called?
The diamond shape.
The little diamond shape on the bottom of this saw. I didn't even notice it, but I'm starting to notice more and more things about saws, because when it comes to making the handle, all these subtle details make a big difference in the big picture of the saw. So
yeah,
that was awesome. He made another pair of saws. Now these ones aren't done yet, but I wanted him to bring them because they're different than any of the other saws that we have here. So there's that one if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, so obviously the ones we've shown so far are all back saws, and this is a pretty standard panel saw configuration. It's 22 inches. People love panel saws, especially in modern shops. I think you have
I have the Atkins.
Yeah, you have this little Atkins right here. I mean, people really like using these. They're easy to grab. They're easy to use. You don't have to worry about the back ever bottoming out.
And that's the thing with that one, is it's pretty universal, and that's why I like that size, and I like that it's a panel saw, because I can do most things with it. But the only issue, it's not a hybrid, so I'm ordering another one again. We'll talk about that. But.
Yep, exactly.
So this one does have the nib, which we had mentioned before.
Yeah, so this is the steel nib, which has no use. It's only for decoration.
Some people say it's to mark the wood. You're supposed to turn the saw over and use it to scribe the wood before you cut. It's not. It's not even sharpened or anything like that. Yeah. You could do that.
Yeah.
You could put a little spike right here and use that to... I don't know how accurate people would be with. I don't know. So. But yeah, so it's got the nib right here.
Yep.
Is there a name to this style?
The handle style?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what we call the inside ogie.
That's it. And I say OG, but it's Ogie?
Ogie, yeah.
Ogie, okay.
You could say OG. And basically what they did was where the lamb's tongue usually kind of loops up in that semicircle way, they kind of just took that and then flipped it around the other way at this point,
Yeah.
And this was something that was very common in the U.S. There are English saws that have that style as well, but as far as I've seen, it's mostly U.S. and it was always the highest end of saws,
Yeah.
like the distant 12s, the
Not a D8.
not a D8. No. They didn't do it for the D8.
No.
But like the Panther saw, the Eagle saw.
Oh,
Some people
yeah.
know those.
I'll
are,
have to throw pictures up of those. Those are crazy.
Yeah. So those are almost all.
There's one thing I just noticed about this that I didn't before. Subtle details. So the plate of this, I mean, clearly it goes all the way to here, but it's actually in the handle. I'll try to show you guys in video, but you can see where the handle is there, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So the steel's kind of shaped around.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Is that normal for OGs?
No. So this was something that I did. I was talking to the gentleman that ordered these, and he was interested in like a D8 style saw. And one of the things with the D8s is that they moved the handle kind of up further into the plate in what's called the let-in style. Let's see if I'll take this again. So you can see kind of how in this example the handle is hanging off of the plate a little bit more. And with this, it's pushed in, and what it does actually is
That's cool.
It actually adds a little bit more stability in the back.
It seems like it would be easier to control too.
Yeah.
With it. Yeah, and then you have more, I guess, use of it. Because kind of what I've noticed when I've gotten to saws down here on the bottom, I don't really use that part. But I think with it embedded in the handle, you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about any kind of binding or anything because it's strong right there.
Right. And if you're doing, kind of like sawing down on a bench like this, then you're never going to hit the handle because
yeah,
just like that. So.
That one too. On that note, kind of that saw use is it has a different feature.
Inside Ogie style with the thumb hole. I kind of gave it like this comma shape.
Its own Ogie.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yep. So same principle as with the normal one. You can hold it like this and get both hands in there. When you're doing all of your ripping.
I noticed too that when I was looking at this saw, I was like, that is not going to be comfortable. Sorry. But it is. When I actually put it in my hand, I was like, dude, this is actually really comfortable and it's really nice to use just because the way that it fits. All right, this one. I'm excited about this one. I don't know the name of this. I know that this is a double cove.
Mm-hmm.
What did I call this? The dolphin?
You call it the dolphin.
Yeah, so this is actually, and it was really cool because he brought over some vintage saws too, and he has the vintage version of this one, and this is basically just a bigger version of that one, because that one I was surprised at how small it was after I saw this, but this was a custom order from somebody, so talk about that one.
Sure, yeah. So this is, we call it a halfback, even though the back of a halfback is almost never half.
It's like a
the
quarter.
length. It's
Quarterback.
Yeah, quarterback.
You got to start naming them that.
The quarterbacks. Yeah. Hopefully no one gets confused by that, but getting a quarterback saw. But yeah, so this one, the handle style. Initially, I was inspired by a vintage example that was made by a guy named William McNeese. And this is also a similar handle style that a guy named Walter Cresson used. But anyway, it's just unbelievably decorative. You have the nibs on top and bottom. We call this the hook and bead, I believe. No, I'm second guessing myself, but I think we call that the hook and bead. And then the double cove that kind of exposes a little bit more of the brass.
In this double cove too, you guys won't be able to see it, but I'll throw a video of it up. He inlaid it with ebony, if that's however you call it. So he cut the slot, filled that with ebony, and then cut the slot again for the back and the spine, or the plate and the spine, and that looked really cool.
Yeah. This is Paduke. Paduke and ebony look great together, and then you add in the brass and steel. It's just
and I really like the steeple nuts.
Satisfying. So these people started using these maybe mid 1800s, and it was always reserved for like kind of the aristocrats of the saw world. Like some of them that are still around that are in really good shape, like kept in museums and stuff, of course, have like the entire plate etched of like.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's one, I think it's Hargreaves. If you look up Hargreaves etch saw, it has like the entire factory of theirs in Sheffield etched onto it. Yeah, it's amazing. It's very cool.
This one has an edge too. I forgot about that.
It does, yeah. So he wanted the number of teeth on there.
Oh, sorry. That's my ADHD.
Oh, that's okay.
So this one's a hybrid, but he wanted something specific with
yeah. So hybrid, usually you'd want to have something that's kind of equal in cross and rip cut capability. So he wanted something that could do rip, but was mainly going to be doing cross cut. So we just kind of skewed it a little bit toward being better at cross cut, because that's how he's going to be using it. He's also going to be using it on some sort of challenging material like plywood and melamine and stuff like that. So I didn't want to go too high of a bevel with the teeth, because that can dull a lot more rapidly, and when you're cutting through adhesive and stuff like that, you know.
The guy that ordered this saw, he's actually a friend of ours too. Well, I don't know if you get. They're friends now.
Yeah.
He's been a friend of mine for a while. He does contract type work, so he's a finish carpenter. So he's mobile. He's everywhere. So that's the other reason for the smaller saw, one that's hybrid, because he can just use the one saw and that's it. But that's why he's going to be cutting plywood and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you with this type of thing, you get kind of the benefits of a back saw and the benefits of a panel saw. So it's, you know, kind of, and with the hybrid teeth, you're kind of getting this all-around type of thing. And for somebody that's on the go, that doesn't have the ability to, you know,
Hoard.
reach behind them and grab whatever they want. They have to be picky about what they keep in their toolkit. So
I will say that's one thing that I like about ordering custom. Like if you look at the saws that I have in my till, they're pretty much from makers, because I like getting picky with some things. He can do different tooth geometries on things. So if you're looking for something specific, what was the, we have another buddy named Chad, and he wanted a dovetail saw that had a really deep plate. Mm-hmm. So he can do things like that. He also does taper grinding, which isn't common for a lot of modern makers, I think. He does do too, because I know we're showing you all these like customizations and stuff like that, but he does do like, I guess I would consider this a standard dovetail.
Yeah.
It's more than that to me because of like the detail work and stuff, but this is a standard dovetail. It cuts amazingly. It's not tapered. I know sometimes they do not taper ground, but sometimes they do the canted. I knew I felt it. I felt it like it's not tapered.
That's the wrong word.
Yeah, but this is just like a dovetail saw. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are in the market for a custom saw, I highly recommend checking out Dennis's site, because he could pretty much do anything. I mean, you guys saw my saws, they're extra. I like being extra, but if you also just want a standard saw, I won't judge you. It's okay. But you can check those out as well. I know we went through a lot of the different features and designs and how I'm impressed with the quality of that, but they also cut really well too. So that's like, I know people are going to say that's more important. I like look. And the fact that they can perform as good as they look, that's a bonus.
Yep.
Because sometimes I just like to stare at tools, because I'm one of those weird ones. But they do perform really well. So again, if you're in the market for a saw, feel free to check out his site. And I am going to recommend just going extra, going crazy, because look at the bat symbol, man. Okay. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, any comments, anything like that, feel free to let us know down below. Again, with questions, I'm probably just going to kick them over to Dennis, because I don't know saw stuff. So if it's anything saw, reach out to him on his website. His email's down there. I'll put his email down below. Is that it?
I think that's it.
Any last words?
Thanks.
Adios. Thanks. You and Eric are hilarious.